In this video, we're going to practice solving equations using the subtraction and addition properties of equality. But first, let's define what is an equation and what does it mean to solve it. An equation is a statement with an equal sign between two expressions. So what does it mean to solve it? When we solve an equation, it means that we find the missing value or the value of the variable. In this example is x, that will make this statement true. That means that the left side will equal the right side. So let's determine if these given values are the solution to this equation. So let's start by bringing down the equation that we are given. In this case is x plus 2 is equal to 11. And they're asking us if 5 is the solution to this equation. That means that everywhere we see an x, we're going to replace it with this 5. So let's do that. This will be 5 plus 2 is equal to 11. So let's evaluate the left side. 5 plus 2 is 7. And we can clearly see that this is not the same or not equal to 11. So since we get a false statement, that means that 5 is not a solution. So let's try it again with B. Let's bring down once more the given equation. And this time they're asking us if 9 is a solution. So then everywhere we see an x, we'll replace it with that 9. Bring down the rest. Let's simplify the left side. 9 plus 2 is 11. And the left side this time equals the right side. So we end up with a true statement. That means that this time 9 is a solution. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to find solutions to these types of equations. So let's start solving equations using the subtraction property of equality. The subtraction property of equality states that if you have A equal to B, then we are allowed to subtract the same value from the left and right side without changing the equality. Then the steps that we're going to take to solve equations is first, we're going to find the location of the variable or the unknown. Next, we're going to find the operation that is being applied to the variable, and then we're going to apply inverse operations. That's when we're going to use the subtraction property. What does that mean? In an inverse operation, it states that if something is being added, we can do the inverse, and that will be subtracting. So then let's begin. First, we find the location of the variable. In this case, if I take the equal sign, x is on the left side of the equal sign. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to only look at the left side and see what operations are being applied. In this case, it's being added by 6. So then, since 6 is being added to x, I'm going to subtract 6 from both sides. I'm doing the inverse operation. The opposite of addition is subtraction. So from left to right, we bring down the variable. And now 6 minus 6, since they have different signs, we're going to subtract. So 6 minus 6 will add up to 0. And on the right side, I have 19 minus 6, and that is equal to 13. So then the solution for this equation is x is equal to 13. Now, can we check if we did this correctly? Yes, you can. Let's write it down. We bring down the equation, and then we replace in x the solution that we found. So that was 13. Bring the rest of the equation. And 13 plus 6 is 19, which means that the left side is equal to the right side. Let's move on to the next one. First, I'm going to check the location of my variable. This time is on the right side. Then I concentrate only on the right side and look for the operation being applied to the variable. In this case, it's adding 95. So then according to the inverse operations, the opposite of addition is subtraction. So then I'm going to subtract 95 from both sides of the equal sign. We have to be careful here. On the left side, I have 67 minus 95. This is the same as having 67 plus negative 95. Because they have different signs, we are supposed to subtract and keep the sign of the largest. In this case, I have more negatives than positives, so the sign I'm going to keep will be that minus. So we subtract 95 minus 67. That will give us 28. And then don't forget to bring down the sign. Well, then 67 minus 95 is equal to negative 28. Don't lose the equal sign. Bring down the variable. And 95 minus 95 will add up to 0, making negative 28 the solution for this equation. Let's try it one more time. I notice that the variable is on the left side. The operation being applied is addition of 3. So then what I'm going to do is subtract 3 from both sides. From left to right, 3 minus 3 will add up to 0. Don't forget to bring down your variable. Don't lose the equal sign. And on the right side, I have negative 8 minus 3. Because they have the same sign, we add and keep the sign. Then 8 plus 3 will be 11. And because they're both negatives, we're going to keep the sign, making negative 11 the solution for this equation. Then let's try solving equations using the addition property of equality. The addition property of equality states that if you have A is equal to B, then adding the same value to both sides of the equal sign will not change the equality. So then the steps that we're going to use are going to be the same as before. First, we need to find the location of the variable or the unknown, find the operation being applied to the variable, and then apply inverse operations. This time we're applying the addition property. What that means is whenever you are subtracting, you can do the inverse operation of addition. That means that the opposite of subtraction will be addition. So let's try this example here. First, I'm going to notice that my variable is on the left side, so that I'm only going to concentrate on the left side. The operation being applied is subtraction, so x is being subtracted by 6. Then we're going to add 6 to both sides. So from left to right, don't forget to bring down the variable. Being careful here, I have a negative 6 plus 6 or a minus 6 plus 6. Because they have different signs, we're going to subtract them. So 6 minus 6 will add up to 0. Don't lose your equal sign. And on the right side, 19 plus 6 will be 25. And this is the solution to this equation. Let's try it again. The variable is located on the right side. So if I only look at the right side, I notice that the operation being applied is once again subtraction. So then the opposite of subtraction will be addition. That means that I'm going to add 95 to both sides of the equal sign. On the left side, I have negative 67 plus 95. Because they have different signs, I'm supposed to subtract the numbers and keep the sign of the largest. This time I have more positives than I have negatives, so the sign I'm going to keep is a positive. Let's subtract them, the largest minus the smallest, and this will give us 28, positive 28. Then this will be 28, don't lose the equal sign, bring down the variable, and negative 95 plus 95, different signs, we subtract, so that adds up to 0, making our solution 28. Let's try one last example. Ready? Once again, our variable is on the left side. So then I'm going to ignore the right side and only look at the left side. We have to be careful here because the operation being applied is an addition of negative 3. So then if we are adding a negative 3, the sign, it's minus. So then the opposite of subtraction is going to be addition. So you might want to remember every time we add a negative, the inverse operation will be addition. From left to right, negative 3 plus 3, they have different signs, so we subtract. So 3 minus 3 will add up to 0. Bring down the variable. Don't lose the equal sign. And on the right side, I have negative 8 plus 3. Different signs, we subtract. So 8 minus 3 is 5. And we keep the sign of the largest. In this case, I have more negatives than positives, so I'm going to keep the negative. And negative 5 is the solution to this equation. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.